Welcome to my first makeup tutorial ever. For those who are not familiar with the lore, this is basically an elegant take on corpse paint, a classic black metal subgenre makeup. Perfect for gigs, photo shoots, or date night with Satan. Let's begin. I included this small snippet just to show what I think should be a given before any makeup application, but especially looks like this that are heavy and drying to the skin. Pat some toner onto cleansed skin, then use a super hydrating cream. The skin around the eyes and lips is the thinnest, so these areas should receive extra care. If this were during the day, I would also put on some SPF, but for now all I've forgotten to include was applying lip balm, an anti-shine primer, and inserting my contact lenses. If your skin is still dry, use a hydrating primer or serum instead. With a dampened beauty blender, start off with a full coverage foundation in your own skin tone. For now, we'll just be basing out our canvas, covering any redness and superficial skin imbalances. I'm not going to go into much detail here since this is not a foundation application video, but if you're interested in my technique for that, I can film a specific tutorial for it. In the second layer, I am introducing a high coverage stage performance foundation by Illamasqua. This is basically a high quality snow white foundation made specifically for whiteout purposes, so we don't need a lot. To improve blendability, I mix it in a half-to-half ratio with the previous foundation. Make sure to get your ears too and blend into the neck. If I were going out with this look, I would also use body paint or FX paint on any parts of my skin exposed, but we're only doing the face now. For my last layer, I'm using the Illamasqua white foundation in its pure form, mostly around the center of the face. If you're not basically as pale as an undead like me, you might need more layers depending on the final lightness you can realistically achieve. Skin hydration becomes crucial at this point since applying so much makeup will magnify any dryness and pores, so I really suggest sticking with my aforementioned advice. To set these layers in place, I'm using a translucent setting powder with the damp beauty blender for added moisture, improving the durability of the foundation and avoiding that dusty, overly powdered look. Time to contour. Since we kind of want to look dead here, no warm tones are allowed. Instead of using a usual contouring powder or bronzer, I'm using a matte grey powder available in Claire's ages ago during Halloween season. Using a small flat brush, find the hollows of your face, starting with the bottom of the cheekbones. If you don't have very high or prominent cheekbones, you can also just follow the line created by the top of your ear, downwards to the middle of your eye. This will usually give an aesthetically pleasing rendition of your facial structure. Since this is a dramatic look, I'm not going easy on the carving. I continue my cheekbone line down the front angle of the face to create a more hollow look. The result is a very strong, androgynous look that I find very appealing. To further enforce this, I also define the tip of the nose a bit. Switch over to a fluffy angled brush and blend like there's no tomorrow. With this same brush, darken your jawline all the way to the base of the ears. Add a bit of depth to the temples too, connecting that cheekbone line in a swirling motion. I know I said I'm only doing the face, but since I've done the jaw, I figured I would do the neck too. Search for the sides of the windpipe and draw them, blending into the sides. If this were for a shoot and the clothing would leave my chest exposed, I'd carve out my clavicles too. With a clean spoolie, brush the eyebrows back and forth a few times to loosen up any foundation and powder buildup. Take a tiny, short-haired detailing brush and a matte black eyeshadow. Again, this is not an eyebrow tutorial, so I won't go into detail here. We're basically trying to create a sort of ominous, aggressive look, so I don't follow my natural line all the way. If you have thick, dark brows, this step may have to be altered for you, because you would have to mask them first. This step is not an absolute must, but it greatly improves the final mood of the look. Once I've got my basic shape, I'm going to switch over to a flat angled brush and add some fixing spray to my black eyeshadow. This makes it into a pasty consistency that dries on the skin, making it last all night, which is very important since this is an artificial shape. I fill in from the top and bottom and from the outer half towards the center. This is also where you can build a higher arch. Instead of fading out the center as in usual looks, I elongate and sharpen it. This bladed brow makes for a very menacing look. To further define it, I clean up on the bottom and top with a Q-tip. If your lips begin to dry out, apply more lip balm. Starting off the eyes, I'm using a creamy black eyeliner to give me a dark base. Having either an eyelid primer or a cream base is essential if you want your makeup to last longer than a few hours, especially with such dark and heavy eyeshadows. I wing it out a little bit, but don't go higher than my crease, sort of dotting away to disperse the edges. Next, I'm using my brand new custom-created Lethal Cosmetics palette, which I absolutely love. All the shades are so buttery and pigmented, it's insane. But today, we will only be using black. With yet another flat, dense brush, apply black shadow all over the cream eyeliner. To prevent getting black dust on my white face, I use a square of tissue or teepee that I press against my lower lid. Don't be afraid of making a mess around the eyes because this look isn't all too precise, and we will be blending more anyway. Next, we need to build up that dramatic wing. Placing the edge of the tissue in the angle I want, I press it against my outer corner and temple, then progressively fade the shadow out to the edge of my eyebrow. If you're using high-quality eyeshadow like this one, you only need the tiniest bit. Blend into the crease, fading up to the brow bone. Now I am sculpting my inner eye socket and the bridge of my nose. If you furrow your brows, it's easy to find the focus points. Don't worry if it looks too strong, we will be softening it later. Taking the same creamy eyeliner, I smudge my lower lash line, focusing on the outer corner, but only bringing it into the half of my eye. With the black shadow brush, smoke it out, enforcing the outer wing with a small wing underneath. This will be important later. Try to keep the shadow and liner from getting on the bottom inner corner of the eye. With a matte white eyeshadow and any kind of blending brush, start molding the black shadow into the rest of the face, starting from the edges. This will add much more depth to the eye socket. Use this same blending brush to soften the nose contour, bring it outwards onto the sides of your nose. Clean up some more with the Beauty Blender. With a small flat brush, blend white eyeshadow right underneath those sculpted brows. Matte works best. Next, I'm using liquid eyeliner in the shades Satin, Satan, haha, basically black. Enforce the bottom edge of those brows. To make things blacker than the blackest black times infinity, line the upper lash line and root of your wing with Satan as well. Finally, we get to the fun part. Take that tiny detailing brush and your black eyeshadow. From here, it's really up to you what kind of corpse paint you want. For me, I wanted to incorporate a sort of nature theme inspired by crooked tree branches, snakes, deer antlers, including a tiny moon on my forehead as a centerpiece. Make use of the lines we have already marked on the face, such as the eyebrow and eyeshadow wing. If you have a giant forehead like me, don't hesitate to expand your drawing. What makes this corpse paint what I refer to as elegant is partially the flattering lines I create to enhance my cheekbones. This is why it was important to create that small subwing, because that is the root of these lines. Once I have based out my shapes, I wipe my water lines with a dry, clean Q-tip to clean up and absorb any moisture. This is important because it's the only way the waterproof creamy white eyeliner will stay on for hours on end. We kept the black away from the lower inner corner for this moment to fill it with white. Set and blend this with the small flat brush and white eyeshadow. The next step I kind of messed up during filming. I focused so hard that I leaned in too close, so you can't see much. Sorry. This is my usual inner corner design, which I can talk about in a different video if you wish. Next, I take a very strong durability black liquid eyeliner. This one is from eBay, and once it gets on my skin, you need to practically bomb it off of there. It's perfect. This is why it's so great for that inner corner where things tend to smudge away fast. We have our faint base lines, and now we need to darken them up. Use a waterproof gel liner and your small detail brush and create more lines, then follow the previous ones. You can play around with the strength of the line by the amount of product you put on the brush, as well as the pressure with which you apply it. Go back in with the liquid eyeliner and darken the roots of the lines even more. This increases the depth of the design and makes it smudge-proof. Almost done. Rub off the excess lip balm, wipe clean with a tissue. I'm using liquid lipstick, so having a clean, residue-free lip is very important. My favorite lipstick brand, Black Moon Cosmetics, has a pitch black matte shade called Sleepwalker. This is an absolute staple in my arsenal. I go back in with Satin and add some more details under my lower lip. At this point, I'm just touching up everything and adding even more details. To further prove my devotion to them, I'm taking Black Moon Cosmetics lipstick in the shade Castle, which is a part of their special black metal line, so I could not resist. This will give a lovely metallic gray highlight, adding dimension to the lips. Some time has passed since I began, so I'm just touching everything up a bit. With my blending brush and gray contour powder, I add even more depth from the roots of the designs, blending outwards. And why not, I darken my eyes and eyebrows even more with some mascara. I promise I'm done now, but to further the ombre effect on the lips, I'm going to pat some of the white eyeshadow in the center of the lips. This will also make them last even longer. And now they're too light, so we put some more Satin from within the mouth. And that's it. I forgot to film putting setting spray on, which will just cement all of the makeup into place, leaving you carefree during your occult escapades. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.